Hello, I'm Adam Barralet and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to continue on with the tradition of looking at what's going to be happening astrologically in the forthcoming month, as well as the essential oils and the crystals that we can dive in to help us support us throughout the different energy shifts that will happen as well. Now, before I go into the different events that are going to happen, there's an oil that's going to keep on coming up over and over a lot this month, so I thought I'd kind of spotlight it, and that is Neroli. So Neroli is one of 3 oils that is gifted to us from a very generous tree in the aromatherapy world. It's the bitter orange tree. Now, from the leaves and the twigs, we get petitgrain. From the fruit, we get the bitter orange oil. And from the blossoms, we get neroli. And this is a really subtle, floral but fruity kind of aromatic oil that is so relaxing, probably more so relaxing than oils such as good old lavender and so on. Now, if I was to give it a key word, the word enticement comes to mind. There's many different reasons for that. Well, first of all, there's lots of different stories about neroli. That nymphs would use the scented neroli to beckon young men and women out of their bedchambers at night into the forest for a night of ecstasy. It is said that ladies of the night would use neroli to seduce clients, whereas newlyweds would sprinkle orange blossoms on their bed so that the bride could relax on her first night. Even Cleopatra is rumoured to have anointed her sails of her boat with both neroli and jasmine essential oil as she sailed up the Nile to go and seduce Mark Antony. That poor guy didn't have a chance, did he? So you can see how there's real kind of seducing and enticing. Now, the other interesting aspect about it is there's this really interesting study that I read about where there were 2 groups of people. One group was put in a normal room, and the other group, they were diffusing neroli. Both groups were given the same tests, and the tests were to kind of think laterally or outside the square. And it was found that those that were smelling the neroli as they did work their way through the test, they performed far greater. So again, just as neroli has this history of beckoning us out into, being more relaxed and being more, even opening up with our sacral chakra, it also helps the mind to open up as well. So we're going to talk about this several times this month, and the first one will be on our full moon that happens on the 1st of August. That is the full moon in Aquarius. You see, neroli is very much associated with both Aquarius and its ruling planet Uranus, and you'll see them keep reoccurring throughout this month. So when the full moon is in Aquarius, what's Aquarius about? Aquarius is about that aspect of life which is to do with that community, that humanitarian. And I like to call this the light workers full moon. This is when we take some time out to think about what are our unique gifts, because the Aquarian and Uranian nature is very quite quirky and unique, and so we celebrate diversity and uniqueness, and we go, okay, well, what are my uniquenesses, and how can I share those unique gifts out with the world? This is a beautiful time to start making, I guess, kind of some plans and putting some things into workings and out into the magic of like, how do I make sure that although I'm pursuing my own dreams, how am I also making sure that I'm helping my community and serving the greater good? How do I bring more light to the world? This is a really interesting thing for spiritual people to conceive, because there's a lot of spiritual people out there that are all like, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. No. How can we just add more light? Not drag people down, but lift everyone up. Neroli will really help you to do that. Because of its relaxing nature and because it's a white petaled flower, it has that beautiful essence with the full moon. The other reason I really love neroli, not just on the full moon in Aquarius, but any full moon, is often when we have a full moon, we're thinking, how do I, what universe, I want this, bring me that, bring me that. But we know that if we want to attract something different into our life, we must become a vibrational match to that. So neroli helps us to think outside the square is, how do I change to be in alignment with the new thing that I want to manifest as well? So a really beautiful one to work with. Now, the crystal that I love to work with when it's the full moon in Aquarius is Herkimer diamond. Now they're little types of quartz. You can see it on my ring here and also on this pendant. They grow in their own little double terminated points. What's really unique about the Herkimer diamond is it's not a diamond, it's actually quartz. I consider it to be the highest vibration quartz on the whole planet. It's found in New York State, not in New York City. You're not going to find one if you go digging up Times Square or anything like that, but in a place called Herkimer. Now, why I love it compared to diamonds is diamonds, to be beautiful, actually need man's work, whereas a Herkimer diamond actually is naturally beautiful, and you can often find different rainbows and sparkles within it, even sometimes little water bubbles or in hydros caught in it as well. Now, with that clarity that you get in the beautiful Herkimer diamond, when we have clarity in our lives, we know how to make big change, we know how to go forward. And Herkimer diamond really helps us to do that. So it's a really beautiful one to lean into throughout this full moon period on the 1st of the month. Now, shifting from the moon to the sun, on the 7th of August, we're going to meet a kind of a solar festival. It's a midpoint between equinox and a solstice, depending on where you are. So first of all, let's have a look at if you are in the northern hemisphere. It is the festival of Lughnasadh. Now, Lughnasadh is a time when we are celebrating halfway between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox, and it's when we're starting to reflect on what we've been achieving in the warmer months. You know, the warmer months are often our more active months. We're out there interacting, socializing, making connections, building things up, and we are slowly, not yet, heading towards the winter. Well, you don't have to think about winter yet, but we want to kind of celebrate the fruits of our labor. Lughnasadh is actually a really great time for celebration. And, you know, here in the Middle East, a lot of people are still on their summer holidays. And in other parts of the Northern Hemisphere, people are as well. This is about enjoying the fruits of our labor. Traditionally, Lughnasadh was celebrated by the people of the earth, the pagans, by, you know, celebrating the harvest and all the different fruits and grains and different things that had grown at that time. So this is a really great time for you to dive in and celebrate and go, hold on, what am I enjoying? This is a really great time to work with the sacral chakra. As humans and as adults, we tend to work, and when we finish working, we're like, right, what am I going to work on next? When do we enjoy the fruits of our labor? Lughnasadh is a really great time to do that. Continue working with your Neroli essential oil. It works really beautiful with that sacral chakra, and it does help with intimacy. Not just sexual intimacy, but opening up to other people and enjoying the pleasures of life. Team that with the good old Carnelian, a beautiful orange crystal that gives us that vitality, that joy, and that connection with other people as well. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, celebrate Lughnasadh, and I do have a separate video on my channel that gives you a whole range of different things you can do for Lughnasadh as well. If you happen to be in the Southern Hemisphere, as many of my friends and family are, it's Imbolc on the 7th of August. Imbolc is the beginning. It translates to mean ewe's milk or lamb's milk. It's kind of where you get the first inklings that winter might be ending. The sun is just getting a little bit warmer, the days are getting a little bit warmer as well. So as you come out of your sleepy slumber of winter and out of that crown chakra, you bring it down to the third eye chakra. This is a really great time to work with Lapis Lazuli at this time and start to think, okay, now as it's warming up, now as I'm becoming more active, what would I like to do? After pondering and getting really clear on who I am and what my mission here is on life, especially as we think about what we've just thought about with the full moon in Aquarius, but also in those colder months where you do get a chance to meditate more, spend more time by yourself, be a bit of a hermit, be a bit more introspective. This is a really great time to lean into Lapis Lazuli, the stone of kings, leaders and gods, and go, right, how do I bring that knowledge down? How do I now start to make a difference in this world? Do we start taking action yet? No, because first we need to get really clear on our plan. And this can be a really beautiful crystal to support you in doing that and helping you to feel confident that you can do that as well, that you can achieve anything. Team that with Peppermint essential oil. Peppermint is a great third eye chakra essential oil. You know, what I love to do with peppermint, especially if you're getting a little bit sleepy just in the middle afternoon, pop a drop in your hands, rub your hands together, take a deep breath in, and it'll wake you right up. It helps with that awareness of the third eye. And in meditation, it can really help to bring us clarity as well. When we're clear on what we want, we can head there faster. And peppermint allows us to do that. So lean into the peppermint during Imbolc if you happen to be in the Southern Hemisphere. Jumping back to the moon now, we then get to a lunar cycle. Starting again, we have the new moon, and this is the new moon in Leo. So a big happy birthday to all the Leos this month. Oh, I'm knocking things over. A really great thing to do with Leo new moon is Leo is about fun, it's about children. If you're trying to start a family, maybe the new moon in Leo is a really great time to try make love that night, see if that kicks in for you. But it's about pleasure, leisure, and play, and having more fun, having more recreation in our lives. So there is a lot of kind of essences of pleasure and making sure we're enjoying ourselves this month and doing things the way we want to do it. So the new moon, unlike the full moon, which is a time of magic and manifestation, is a time for contemplation and pondering. So pondering, what more fun? How can I bring more fun into my life? What is fun for me? What would bring more pleasure to me? How can I devote more time to leisure as well? Bring in one of the oils of the inner child, green mandarin. Green mandarin, the mandarin, so of course we get 3 mandarin oils. Green, which is really great for new moon work. Yellow, which is really great for full moon work. And red mandarin, the fully ripe fruit, which is good for dark moon work. So the green mandarin has that childlike energy. It's from an unripe fruit, yet to become what it will be. It's just like a young child, and has real playful energy as well. It also has that kind of solar energy. So it's really beautiful with that Leo sun kind of energy on the new moon. Hope you get what I'm putting down there. So green mandarin is absolutely great. Tie that in with black opals. Black opals, I don't know if you can get the sparkle on this one today. No, I don't think it wants to sparkle in this light. But black opals are said to be really great. All opals have a real playful, childlike energy, really nice around this kind of new moon in Leo. Plus, it's actually said, I think it was when Zeus, was it Zeus or Cronus? I'm pretty sure it was Zeus. When he defeated the Titans, oh, I'm getting bad on my mythology today. When he defeated the Titans, he cried tears of joy, and these are his tears of joy. So this is almost like letting go of the grief, letting go of the struggle, letting go of all the challenges that you've been, and just having some fun, that relief. And that's what a black opal can help to do. So working with black opal and green mandarin and now around the new moon in Leo would be a really great thing to do. Now, on the 23rd of August, we go into another Mercury retrograde. Don't freak out about that. Hopefully subscribe to my newsletter at adambarralet.com, and I'm going to have all the tips and tricks that you need to thrive during this retrograde, as well as all my other retrogrades that come up. They're all in my newsletter as well. So this one's going to be in Virgo. You may find that the mind especially gets a little bit irrational. You may find it hard to kind of get your thoughts in order and thus your communication in order. When Mercury goes into retrograde, this is a really great time to look at where we have a hiccup in our communication, and when things downfall, we can improve on that. So grab your eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is such a cooling, calming oil and works really well with the throat chakra. It helps us breathe, relax, and communicate clearly, and to allow communication to flow really nicely as well. So working with eucalyptus around the Mercury retrograde would be really beneficial. The crystal I've teamed it with is blue lace agate. Unfortunately, I don't have one to show you. I didn't bring one with me on this trip. So blue lace agate, again, has that real calming, soft blue energy and would be a really nice one for you to wear, carry, or meditate with during the Mercury retrograde. Now that's not our only retrograde this month, because Uranus is going into retrograde as well. Uranus is a bit of an interesting planet, obviously just beyond Saturn, where all the other planets, as they dance around the sun, kind of do the rotations like this. And the Earth does that, and that's how we get day and night. Uranus actually rolls like a ball. And so Uranus is very much to do with doing things differently, innovation, creativity, being a little bit quirky, diversity, and anything to do with the queer life. So when Uranus is in our lives and going direct, not in retrograde, then we get these little changes and innovation happens and all that type of thing. When he goes into retrograde, he takes his energy away. And innovation stops, things don't seem to evolve on. Sometimes technology can fail us, so the fact that we've got an Uranus and a Mercury retrograde at the same time, you really want to make sure you're backing up everything on your computers before those two retrogrades hit on the 23rd and the 29th of August. So what happens is things stop changing, and then we start to feel this kind of angst inside us that things aren't evolving how they are. Now, when we're feeling that restlessness, we can either get snappy, and some people do around Uranus retrograde, or we can go, oh, what if it doesn't feel right? How can I lean into that, and how can I work with that and go, what does need to change? And when Uranus goes direct again, start implementing those changes with his energy being back around as well. Now, this is where we're going to go back to the Neroli. Neroli is going to help us to meditate, to be very contemplative, it's very relaxing, but also to start thinking outside the square and to check in with ourselves and go, what does need to change as well? If you need another kind of joy that's just popped into my mind, so I thought I'd share it with you, is if you do feel a little bit kind of like restless, but you're not sure why, try combining vetiver, a root oil, and lime, another great heart oil, to get to the heart and root of what's bothering you. And then work with Neroli to work out how do I solve that as well. During Uranus retrograde, also jump back to your good old Herkimer diamonds, because Herkimer diamonds are going to help to give you that clarity on what needs to change in your life and what is feeling stuck and stagnant in your life that's causing a sense of frustration and stopping you from evolving. Now, our final thing is we squeeze another full moon in before this month ends, and it is the full moon in Pisces. Now, Pisces is the 12th and final sign of the zodiac and is basically the culmination of all the other 11. It's the culmination of our life. It's a sign of spirituality. This is a really beautiful and spiritual full moon to do any spiritual work you like. But one thing I really recommend people do is connect with their spiritual team. Who's your spiritual team? Well, that would be your guardian angel, any other angels you have alignment with, animal totems, your ancestors, and any other guides that may be there to support you as well. It's a great time to align with them, acknowledge them, and maybe make a pact of what we're going to do for the next 12 months until we come around to the full moon in Pisces next year as well. A really beautiful oil to work with at this time is jasmine. Jasmine is another white flowered oil, very, very magical. In fact, it's my favorite oil of the full moons in total, kind of thing. It is almost euphoric, and some people find it a little bit overwhelming. I find people that don't like the smell of jasmine, well, it's actually normally because they get overwhelmed and they can't allow too much magic in their life. They have to be grounded and they don't allow themselves to dream. Jasmine takes us off on that euphoric trip in that way. Pairing that with the crystal Howlite, that beautiful white crystal with black veins, brings a sense of peace. The Piscean energy is very much about peace. Peace within, peace around us, peace on earth, peace everywhere, and finding that harmony. And working with Howlite and Jasmine at this time helps us to find back this euphoric peace and make more bliss in our world. So how can you align with your spiritual team to bring peace into your life and to ripple that out throughout the world? So that is what you can expect for this month coming up, August 2023. If you look in the description, I put a little summary there, but I hope that gives you some ideas, and I'd love to know what thoughts you're worried about. Are you excited about anything at all? How are you going to celebrate maybe Lunasad or Imbolc? And remember that if you subscribe to my newsletter, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook and all that other jazz, then I'm going to have updates throughout the month as well. Until I see you again, I'll be back in another month for updates, but I'll have some more videos before then. I'll talk to you then. Take care and blessed be.